What's up, everyone? Welcome to Chicks and Salsa. I am Megan Price, and I got Jenn Lewis next to me. And on the bottom, we have Candy and Kari Johnson. How are you ladies doing?
Good, yourself?
Tired, but I'm doing really well.
I relate to that.
How are you, Candy? How was your birthday weekend?
It was good. It was nice.
Good. What'd you guys do?
Oh, we went out Friday night for a little ice cream. Saturday we went and had dinner, steaks, and got spoiled a little because the restaurant then brought over what they call as a volcano, and they give it to you free. And it's a brownie, a big brownie, and then it's got layers of ice cream on top, a sugar cone on top of that, and then they drizzle Cool Whip all the way up the cone, and then they put a sparkler on the top.
Oh,
it's so fun. And then they come over and they sing to you, and so it's like spoiling you all in one.
I love it.
I love that. And just sounds like so much chocolate. I love chocolate.
Yes.
I do too. Can you really go wrong with chocolate?
Nope.
Never. So everybody's had a great week. I know we're starting off, it's a little early in the week, but for some of us, we've been at work already like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
our girl Megan has a brand new role in her. That you want to give us a little spotlight on that real quick and plug your new show?
Thank you. I am now the host of 806 Sports Radio. If you are in Amarillo or in the local 806 area, it's going to be 1440 a.m. from 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. I'm only hosting Monday through Wednesday currently, but you'll catch me on the other days popping up. And if you're not local, you can catch it on Facebook at 806 Sports Radio. They have their own page there.
Cool. Our girl making moves.
Yes, ma'am.
We're so proud for her.
Yes, we are.
Having to adjust to be a morning person, because even though we don't go live until 9 o'clock in the morning, it takes me about 3 hours to be awake and makeup and hair, take the baby to school, like all that. And it's an adjustment.
Understand.
Yeah, definitely. All right, ladies. So now we have something that came out with the NFL yesterday. They came out and kind of gave a warning shot to all the 32 teams. This was something that affected Kari specifically on Sunday, and something that we've seen had an issue in the NFL for a couple of seasons now, I would say, and that is the delay of game. Whether it be fake injury or whatever their issue is at that moment, and it's a delay of game. And so they have come out and said that they will be handing out fines. It starts with $350,000 for the team, $100,000 to the coach, and I think $50,000 to the player involved. So Kari, why don't you explain what happened in your game and why this kind of came out?
Okay, so I'm going to back up and say this was sent out on Friday as
excuse me.
A note to the team. So this was predecessing, obviously, the weekend games, but then you go in and there was a very obvious play where the safety on the Bengals saw that two were coming out to substitute, and we were at the goal line. And he all of a sudden just dropped to the ground, grabbed the back of his leg, they gave an injury timeout, gave time to do the substitution, which would keep them from having a penalty. And it took the momentum from our team, took that momentum away. I can't be for certain. I can't remember if we scored or not, but it did. It kind of took the wind out of the sails. And I was looking at an article that I found about this. They're seeing an uptick in this. They saw more in the Green Bay Eagles game because it was a lot of viewers. And so, we saw a lot of that. We saw it there as well. The last time that the NFL punished for a fake injury was Emmanuel Sanders in 2012.
Oh, wow. A while ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, ironically, it was a Bengals-Steelers game. So it's the Bengals again that are in the spotlight. I personally think it just shows poor sportsmanship. I mean,
Right.
if you're hurt, you're hurt,
For sure.
and let's make sure you're okay. But it was really obvious, even the fact that Tony Romo and others were talking about it as it was happening, because that safety came back out on the very next play. So he had to go out. He went out for his one game, and then he came right back in. And then Booger McFarland also made that as part of his "Come On, Man" segment last night before the game. So it's not like it's gone unnoticed. And that's not me calling foul play, because my team didn't show up to seal the deal on Sunday. It was really obvious that was what was going on, because the one angle, he looks over the sideline, sees two men walking to the field, and drops to the ground. I mean, it's just that much. So.
And then we have this comment right here. Walter said, how about if the player returns in the same drive, you take away a timeout from a team, and if the team doesn't have any timeouts, then an automatic 15-yard unsportsmanlike in addition to the fines. And so then you feel the effects immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not also financial. It can affect the game, the outcome of the game as well.
Okay, so the fine for the team is a minimum of $350, but can go up to loss of draft pick. So that's something that's kind of interesting. But yeah, if the player wants to do that, that's great. They're out for two rounds until they're whatever it is. But you can't go out, let a play come in, and then come back in. I think that needs to be policed a little bit more. And then that maybe you don't want to go out for an entire series. Maybe that's the thing
the first thing that came to mind when I read this and that this was happening is, y'all remember Lamar had to use the bathroom, left the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, sometimes you gotta go.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking him. I mean, if you gotta go, you gotta go. But I mean,
was he fined for that?
No.
Okay.
But that's my point. What point do you hold adults responsible for being dishonest? Because be honest. Be like, man, the backup got to go in for a couple of plays. I got to use the bathroom. It is what it is.
Yeah. You see that, but here's the thing: is if you're wanting more viewership and you're fighting all of these, you're fighting against ratings for protests, etc. You don't want to make your product unlegitimate. You don't want to remove that piece, and you don't want to keep making the broadcast longer, because that's a timeout. That's what 2 minutes. It's a 2 minute. Is it a 2 minute that they do for an injury or minimum? Yeah. So I mean, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, and it doesn't take long, and you're already stretching out a game that gets stretched anyway.
Right. But it's also a fine line between, are you injured or are you not injured, and what does it look like? What does an injury always look like? This is going to have, the National Players Association is also going to come back and say, now, wait a minute, you can be knocked the wind out of you and you're injured, but you're not injured for long. So it's going to be a very fine line. It'll be very interesting to see how they really enforce it and what ramifications come from this. Because I understand, yes, there are some that totally look like they are totally faking it.
Well, don't live. That gives this kind of.
If you're going to flop, you need to get some lessons from James Harden. Let's face facts.
Okay. So I had to look it up real quick because I was like, who's the president of the that's funny. Who's the president of the NFL PA? And it's actually JC Tretter, which is the longtime Browns center. So I don't know if that's necessarily the person that you expect to come to bat for you I didn't even know he was the president, to be perfectly honest. Like, how much role and impact does he really have?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who is I'm not dissing the Browns. Okay, maybe a little bit. Who is he? He's not a name catching
Jay Treader. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm Googling him right now.
Yeah.
He played for the Green Bay Packers.
He's the center. That's what Walter says. Yeah, it says he's a center for the Browns. I didn't know him like that, but I'm not in that division. I'm not in that region. I don't know.
Right.
And so real quick, and since we talk about the Browns real quick, so we'll chime in and kind of give this breaking news. I'm sure everybody's heard by now, but the Panthers released Baker, and Baker has been picked up by the LA Rams.
No.
As the comment that was made in my house is,
I would like to say this. I would like to say this. I knew when we signed Baker, you girls know that I said this. I thought it was a bad call. Straight up, our O-line was built for one quarterback. Still is. And Baker isn't that quarterback. Right. On top of that, Matt Rule sucks as a head coach in the NFL. And he don't screw up my draft picks, Rams signed a Lions fan. But I feel bad for Baker because it wasn't a right fit.
I do.
I mean,
I feel bad for him.
Like, I mean, honestly, straight up, like, even when he was starting, he was actually acting like a leader on the field in small ways.
I think he wanted it to work, and I think it was just how he went about it was the wrong way, and you can't know until you're in the situation. And I think the perfect fit for him was Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland moved on. He's going to have to go to a team that is a run game driven because of his accuracy with his arm. He's not very accurate. And so that's where he'll shine, and he can be a game manager. I think he got a lot of flack last season for bad numbers, but I mean, literally at one point in time last season, the Browns were like 47% injured, so I mean, he just, including Kim, he was injured and he played through injury and he
got him to a playoff round,
and so he didn't put up
it's there, and they knew how to scheme around Baker. Matt Rule, I said it before, doesn't know how to scheme himself around a kitchen anymore, like
that's funny.
I'm just saying.
Well, let's slide over to the college topic. So on Sunday, we had Selection Sunday, and they announced the 4 teams that were going to be making the playoffs. Now, this is one of the last seasons that we're only going to have 4 teams. In 2 seasons, we will be going to a 12-team playoff. Kari and I were talking about that just a second ago, that we're not exactly sure how they're going to break this down because, when you have tournaments or playoff scenarios like that, it's usually 8 teams. And so then they're able to play down to 4 teams, then 2 teams. For example, in March Madness, you go to the Sweet 16, to the Elite 8, and then to the Final 4. So, like, how are they going to break up 12 teams? I'm not really sure how that's going to work. But currently, we got Georgia at number 1, Michigan at number 2, TCU at number 3, Ohio State, my opinion, snuck in at number 4. So, you want to give your thoughts on the selections, ladies?
No offense to our Michigan fans. No offense, Candy. I don't like Michigan for personal reasons. You guys know what they are. Best of luck to you, I guess. But go Georgia.
She said go Georgia. I'm actually kind of root for Michigan. For some reason, like if Dad's team wasn't in the tournament, he would root for Michigan.
I'm sorry, Walter. It's nothing personal against you. It is for personal reasons, but it's nothing personal against you.
Right.
So I'm going to go TCU because it's kind of like they're an underdog. I don't know why. I don't know why this year I've decided that a frog is something to cheer for, but I'm cheering for a frog.
Okay. The horned frog.
Oh, yes. Oh, horned frog.
So I'm a Big Ten girl. We all know I'm from Wisconsin. Wisconsin obviously didn't make it. So I've got to be rooting for Ohio. I hate to say that, Ohio State. And I've got to root for Michigan.
I just cringed for you.
But so I'm going to go for both of them because let's face it. And you have to give some kudos to Michigan as they are an undefeated team as well.
Right. Yeah. I think we saw them turn up the heat this season. Like I think that we saw some wins where they struggled in, even though they still came out on the other side of things and were the victors. But about mid-season, we saw them kind of struggling, and then now I think we just saw them get hot at the right time, because I really thought that they were going to make the playoffs, but I thought they were going to be the one taking OSU spot, like number 4, possibly number 3. I didn't imagine them really making it to the number 2 spot. In my opinion, I feel like Georgia is the clear number 1. But I think it's pretty obvious that Georgia's the clear number 1. But
I don't have to root for them. I don't have to root for them.
No. I do think she's going to be the team that can play them the best. So I hope that's the matchup that we get in the finals. So currently it's going to be Ohio State versus Georgia, and then it's Michigan versus TCU. I like TCU. I'd love to see a Texas team get in there. I say I got some cousins that went there, but I mean, it's UT all day. So it's nice that a Texas team made it in. They're purple. I'm a purple person. Yeah, I guess we can kind of go for them, but it's not UT for me. So I don't know, that one loss. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like that one loss that they had, I don't think that should have kept them from getting to the playoffs. I felt like it was an overtime loss. It wasn't something where they got blown out, and dang sure Alabama shouldn't have been there.
No, I agree with you on that. And honestly, like, one of my favorite football players went to Georgia. Plus, their mascot's Bulldogs. Ladies, I have 2 Bulldogs.
No, right. Yeah.
I have to go for the Bulldogs.
When was the last time we did not see Alabama or Clemson in the Final Four? I'm curious. No. I can look that up because that's something that's it. But
thank you, Walter.
8 I'm getting feedback that it's been 8 years for Alabama consecutive. So this is their first miss.
Yeah.
No, it's their second time that they haven't made the playoffs in the program's history. So I mean, I'm sure that is rough for them. I knew it was going to be an off year whenever Texas played Alabama, and they really gave them a run for their money. It was not, they didn't win, but it was a close game. And I think that Texas just exposed them right then and there, that the team wasn't quite at the same level that we're used to them being. And I think the other teams saw that blueprint and, got on the gas. To be a fly on the wall in the locker room of the Alabama team.
Well, Rob was just telling me that 6 of their players have already entered the portal.
Oh my gosh.
That's significant.
As of what? It's been a whole day. There is over 1,000 college players that have entered the transfer portal so far.
Oh my gosh.
So did you see there was somebody released what that portal looks like? So over 20,000 players have entered into that portal, and was it 10 or 15% have actually been picked up?
It's crazy that people would enter so early, because if they enter now, they're not going to be playing in any of the bowl games. So now, Wisconsin, Graham Mertz entered the transfer portal, so he'll not be playing in the bowl game for Wisconsin, which makes a big difference for some of the players.
No,
so
absolutely.
Coach Mac Brown, the UNC had 6 players enter the portal today, and Mac Brown is allowing every single one of them to play in the bowl game. As long as they are focused on UNC football, and that they're going to give UNC football their all, because he's like, hey, if it's a better fit, or if you're going to get more playing time at another college, who am I to stop
wait for
you?
him to, right? No, good for him to be understanding, because at the end of the day, these young people are building their careers, and UNC is going to be a stepping stone in their career, most likely. I mean, any college is going to be a stepping stone to what these young men are trying to build. Okay, so also we got the 4 finalists for the Heisman. We've got USC's Caleb Williams, who is their quarterback. Ohio State, CJ Stroud, also their QB. You're going to see that as a trend. TC Max Dugan, QB, and then Georgia's Stetson Bennett. QB, and he's your reigning Heisman. Is that right? He won it last year. Is that right?
Yeah, don't ask me. I'm not.
I'm pretty sure. I think I could be wrong. Let me
look that up real quick. I didn't look that up. I'm sorry.
So one thing that I wanted to know, talk about was that this has turned into a
Bryce Young won last year.
Oh, okay, Bryce Young. Okay. So to me that says something. Like, I think that you have to put other types of players in this award. Yes, Walter, Bryce Young, thank you. Like, I think that you have to include that. Like, and it's the same way in the NFL. Like, the MVP award has become the QB award, whereas I think Tyreek Hill has made an absolute, before this past weekend, had absolutely made a case to be an MVP candidate. And why are we not seeing them showing appreciation to somebody other than the QB?
When did that start being just a QB award? Is that a Tom Brady thing?
Quarterbacks have dominated the award in recent years, winning 18 times since 2000.
Right.
So Brady thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's part of the Brady. The focus was really on.
Here's the deal: the quarterback gets too much credit, and the quarterback gets too much blame. At the end of the day,
yeah, very true.
I have to give my dad credit for that, because he says that he started saying that in the most eloquent way I've heard it said. And yes, Walter, Bryce Young was it, according to CNN. And not trying to cause issues. I just was double checking myself. But I mean, there's other great players. There's a couple of people that I think are sad, but I do think you need to at least be a sophomore or junior before you're at least nominated for it, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
Because I don't think, and I mean, and let's not kid ourselves. Drake May was in the talks for being a nominee, and I was like, he's really good. I want him as my future quarterback. But at the end of the day, there's other guys that have like paid more dues to get that Heisman Trophy than
that's QB at UNC.
Yes.
And I think this is one thing that I'll say as far as that is that, winning matters. And so a lot of times, even like, a couple seasons ago when it was just Steph, and Steph was in the MVP running, but his team barely made the playoffs, that it comes down to how much winning matters, and his team wasn't winning. Now, he was doing amazing things. There was nobody else on his team doing amazing things.
The other thing that I noticed, and we focus in on scorers, and we like those high-flying, high-octane offenses. Why are we? You just notice that everything's shying away from the defense, which to me, that's what captured me as a fan when I was younger, is watching the men go boom. But watching those
Coach Prime. I mean, Dion prime time.
Right. And a lot of people really started saying that, because like when we started watching football, it was dynasties were built on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the steel curtain, you got
and I can tell you right now, the most valuable player on the Dallas Cowboys is Micah Parsons. Like, he is the
that's exactly what I was
behind that team, whether it's defense or offense. Like, he makes or breaks that team. Like, his energy does.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, I still say it's true. People come up with these other things like, oh, analytics is the wave of the future for the NFL. BS. Analytics can be proven wrong. The American psyche can be much stronger than math when you're coming to playing a sport and the competitive nature. Just saying, as a competitor, like I compete with myself.
No matter what, statistics, no matter what, is not fail-proof, because it can always be tainted one way or the other.
Exactly.
Because it boils down to the statistics are built from what humans have put. Exactly. All the females have put in the computer.
We're the ones that know math.
Duh, we're the ones that have all the knowledge. I'm so sorry.
So how do you guys feel about Caleb Williams being nominated since he did enter the portal transfer and went to USC?
I feel like it's not going to go to either one of the two quarterbacks that aren't playing in the playoffs. And then at that, I think is going to go to one that hasn't lost any games. So, you know who that is. But I like to shout out Max Dugan and just say that he's done an incredible job. And I think that me personally, like, it's a team sport. And so, you definitely, like, the individual awards are great. But ultimately you want that championship. And so I would much rather lose a game, drop a game, and learn from that game than lose in the championship,
right.
on the road to the championship. So that pressure of having an undefeated season, I think, is too much sometimes.
Yeah. Candy, what do you think?
I agree. CJ Stroud, I have to admit, though, he also was a finalist last year as well. So it's right. That he, 2 years in a row, he got to, the Heisman Trophy. Is it always about wins and losses? That's how we judge everything. You're gonna say Aaron Rodgers isn't the best quarterback or hasn't been a really good quarterback because he's only won the Super Bowl once, and that's how we judge. That's how media. That's how the fans, typical fans, that's what they look at, because years down the road, that's what the stats. And so that's what you say, and that's how we judge people. And that, I think, is sad, because I think there's more to playing the game and being a leader on a team than just that final stat.
Absolutely. Like, because something you're not going to see in, for example, Green Bay or Detroit in their record is how hard they have, especially Detroit, like how competitive they have been until the very end of the game. Like, they have been in so many games, but it still goes under that L column, and that's just something that isn't shown in the black and white win or loss columns,
Exactly.
Think about it. If you look at football and the team and a workplace environment, do you want just one or two standouts, or do you want an entire team? Do you want a group of people that work together in a team environment? So therefore, why is it that we identify just one or two people and call them, when it's actually, if one part of the team doesn't work, it doesn't work across the board.
Right, because if we're talking about one of the best players in college ball right now, I feel like it's a running back, and it's for my team. But my team didn't win very many games, so it's Bijan Robinson is who I'm talking about. Is there anybody else in college football right now that's doing more than him as a running back? I don't think so.
Muffa.
Blake Corum did
Blake Corum, Muffa.
He got hurt.
But none of them in the Heisman running. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But Blake was for a while. Blake was actually in the Heisman running for a while, but then he got injured, and so now he's been out. So unfortunately, he won't be playing in that championship game.
I want to see. I definitely want to see some diversity in these individual awards, whether it's MVP, whether it's professional, or whether it's Heisman, or the Naismith Awards. I want to see some diversity in that. I don't want to always see a guard on there. I don't always want to see a QB on there. We need some diversity.
Right, exactly. Because if you think about it, I'm sorry, I don't care who's going to disagree with me, but Luke Kuechly, best middle linebacker to play the game. Could we all agree on that?
What about Jason Kelce as a center?
And Jason Kelce, those two have never been nominated for Heisman.
Robinson is absolutely a joystick, Walter. I absolutely agree.
Was Patrick Mahomes nominated? Okay.
I don't think so.
I feel like, here's the thing. I kind of feel like there's a jinx on the Heisman Trophy winner anyway.
I don't think winning the Heisman parlays you to being a great NFL player.
I can kind of agree with that, because I know I've had, what was his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Who was older when we drafted him. He went to Florida. Candy, you might know who I am. Blonde dude. He was one of my quarterbacks, and he won the Heisman. And
it's blonde in Florida.
Blonde guy. What's his name? I see his face. I met him. I told him to start playing like he liked the game again. What the hell's his name? Anyway, yes, Jordan. Chris Winky. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
Well, real quick, we're going to touch on our last topic. And, speaking of diversity, this is something that we've gotten to see a little bit more of in the QB position. Michael Vick is going to be producing a docuseries that will be out soon. And it's an 8-part series, and it's about the evolution of the African-American quarterback in the NFL. So excited to see that. And definitely, and you were saying how many African-American quarterbacks are in the league right now?
11. 3 African-American coaches and 5 total minority coaches. But what's cool with this is like Michael is going to have like Patrick Mahomes on there, Cam, Tony Dungy, Andy Reid, Doug Williams, along with celebrities, journalists, and other cultural figures. And it's just, I don't know. I'm actually excited about this. I used to hate Michael Vick. I really, truly, like, with unabridged passion. And this was before the dogfighting rings, everything like that. But even after that, I feel like he actually felt bad when he came out.
No, for sure.
And he made those. I feel like he truly made amends, and he felt truly bad.
Right. Well, and I love that they're putting Andy Reid in there because he was somebody that put an African-American in that position very early on. He had Donovan McNabb in there with Philly. And there were a few African-American quarterbacks before that, but not a ton.
And Vic.
And Vic too. So, that's something that I love that they're putting him in there too. And he can say, exactly why it didn't matter what the race was. That position, that person earned it regardless. So, congratulations to him being able to get this docuseries out and enlighten people more and maybe bring some more attention to the need for diversity within the league.
I'm actually excited about this one. I don't often get excited, but I'm actually really excited about this one. Because I actually think a lot of Black quarterbacks get the shaft.
Or they get taken by teams that aren't willing to invest in them as far as develop them.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm looking at Chicago with Fields right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Chicago's just a bad example of NFL football. I can't say much. Keep pounding people, but hey.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any final shout outs you ladies want to give before we head out?
No, but should we quickly sing happy birthday on the way out?
Yes. Okay. Sorry that we're going to subject y'all to our voices, but it was Candy's birthday this past weekend. And so we definitely want to sing her happy birthday real quick.
All right. Who's going to start us off?
You.
Me.
Yeah, you said it. You asked. So.
I asked behind stage. Carrie said it on air.
Okay, go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday
to you. We're horrible. Kennedy's in the background. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Candy.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you, ladies. Oh, that's special.
We just humiliated ourselves on air for you.
We really did. Megan and I've only done that for 2 women so far. Congratulations, ladies.
Right.
Thank you. And everyone have a everybody.
Y'all have a great night. And as always, hit any one of us up if you have any ideas of things you want us to talk about. Put it on 3 Chicks in a Pod page. That's our Chicks and Salsa page also, because we're slackers. So, hey, check us out. And thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.